Recently, a clip has resurfaced of J-Lo and it has gone viral. The clip in question, well, she spits her gum into her assistant's hand. Yeah, and that's not only rude, but it's honestly just gross. It seems like in between takes while filming a movie, she wanted to have fresher breath, so she started chewing some gum. But when the cameras are ready to roll again, she can't have it, so instead of asking for a tissue or disposing of the gum herself, she has her assistant come over and cup her hands while J-Lo leans over and spits out her gum. A 2024 clip from the Met Gala went viral for Jennifer, but it was for all the wrong reasons. In a clip shared on TikTok, USA Today reporter Anika Reed was on the famous Met stairs when she innocently asked J-Lo, who was one of the co-chairs that year, "Who are you wearing tonight?" as she walks past. Now, J-Lo barely looked at her and gave a monotone answer of Chaparli while she continued to go up the stairs, ignoring every other reporter waiting to talk to her. Now, people in the comments were quick to call out Jennifer for her rude behavior. One user said, "Ew, why does she have that attitude?" Yeah, fans weren't too happy with the singer's behavior at all. Now, before J-Lo and Ben Affleck got divorced, she wrote a whole album and made a movie based on their love story. Here's the thing though, she also made a documentary about all of this, but the doc was actually named after a scrapbook that Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, stacked with every letter and email they'd written to each other over the last 20 years. Now, Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on the first day of making her new album without asking or even telling Ben. "It became like our Bible," she says in the doc. "We just left it in the studio, and this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc, and right out of the gate, Ben isn't shy about his discomfort." Ben shared that he was taken aback when Jen shared with songwriters the private love letters he wrote to her to serve as inspiration for her upcoming album, This Is Me Now. Later on, he says, "Things that are private, I always felt are sacred and special, because in part, they're private." And J-Lo was also spotted being rude to the paparazzi and her fans. It seems like she came out of a store and everyone was waiting for her. She started to do a paparazzi walk, but was not smiling at all and was pretty much ignoring fans. Now, in the video, she continually says, "Please leave," but continues to pose for photos. Now, after one of the paps asks her a question, she turns away angrily and heads back to her car. As they follow her, she says, "That's enough, you got your pictures," and said that it's hard to love these people as they always mob her. Now, it's not her best look, and some claim she may have been having an off day, but she was definitely giving mixed signals and didn't have to be so rude, especially to all her loving fans.
We've got posh spice, but do we have spicy spice? The mean girl kind? Apparently, Nicola Peltz is serving entitled and rude. And honey, the internet is not letting this slide. Let's talk about Nicola Peltz, because she has officially been stamped with the title nobody wants, Mean Girl Energy. And listen, this isn't popping up out of nowhere. This is a pattern. People connecting dots like conspiracy theorists with Wi-Fi and too much free time. Rewind before the Beckham wedding. Before the Valentino gown, before the Family Feud hit public headlines, reports about Nicola's past relationships are resurfacing, and the word everyone keeps using is intense. Allegedly, she was possessive, needed to be the center of attention at all times, and if she wasn't, Meltdown City. Again, these are whispers, but now with the new drama, the old stories suddenly look like Exhibit A. Fast forward to the Beckham era. The family tension is basically a reality show with couture. The wedding drama? Enough to fuel 3 Netflix seasons. The dress situation? Still dissected. The first dance moment? Analyzed like it's Oscar-nominated cinema. For a while, people weren't sure who to side with. But now, the internet thinks it has the answer. A clip from Paris Fashion Week resurfaced. And oh, did it spread fast. Nicola is standing near Victoria Beckham. Brooklyn's there too. Victoria tries to engage, and Nicola barely reacts. Brooklyn even tries to get her attention. Still nothing. Awkward timing? Maybe, but social media doesn't deal in maybe. It deals in vibes. And the vibe verdict? Rude. Flat out rude. People online are saying you don't have to be BFFs with your mother-in-law, but basic manners are free. At high-profile events like this, you're hyper-aware of cameras, so ignoring someone, especially Posh Spice, comes off intentional. And because the Beckham family has been under the microscope for decades, this tiny clip became Exhibit A in the case. Is Nicola the problem? Here's what really lit the fire. Posh Spice has spent years carefully curating that cool, composed, fashion boss persona. And the second viewers think she's being brushed off, they take it personally. The comment sections are full of people saying Nicola comes across as entitled, cold, and fully aware she married into one of the most famous families on the planet. Fair or not, the narrative is set. Nicola doesn't just marry into drama, she allegedly brings it with her. And here's the reality of celebrity culture in 2026. Talent is great, beauty is great, money is great, but likability is currency. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The second people decide you're a mean girl, every side eye, every awkward clip, every old story gets pulled from storage and displayed on loop. Right now, Nicola is in that phase where the internet has decided who she is, and they are not being generous. Whether this blows over or becomes her permanent rep depends on what happens next. But at the moment, the court of public opinion has spoken.
Starting off, we have Madonna. Now in 2015, Madonna was in Manchester for her Rebel Heart tour, but fans were left unimpressed as they kept waiting for the star. Doors opened at 6:30 p.m. with Madonna expected to start her show at 9 p.m., but fans were soon tweeting about their long wait after they were reportedly told that the concert wouldn't end until 11:30 p.m. Now Madonna was defending her lateness though when she did eventually make it to the stage, launching an angry rant after being booed. "I don't like to be late, by the way, alright? And all you blanks who keep complaining about it can shut the F up," she shouted. "I'm not back there eating chocolate, filing my nails, and getting my extensions done, alright?" She added before explaining that the delay was due to a malfunction with the video for the gig. "We had no video and we had to wait until we could reboot. No selfish diva reason. If you diva blanks want to keep complaining about it, don't come to my show," she said. Now some concert goers reportedly walked out of the show before Madonna even took the stage, with many angry about the late finish and worrying about being able to get home from the venue. Now besides this, Madonna has been known to push people out of her way when passing by, and she asked Peter Andre, a supporting act during her Australian tour, "Am I supposed to know you?" And Cher has gone on record to confirm Madonna was extremely rude when she was invited to Cher's home with her then husband Sean Penn. Next is Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase has garnered a reputation for being difficult to work with, as there are countless accounts about him being disrespectful to coworkers, so it shouldn't be that shocking to hear that he's been rude to fans. Actor and comedian Rob Huebel was a longtime fan of Chevy and recounted an experience he had when meeting him for the first time. Chevy was sent to perform with Rob's theater improv group on one occasion, and Rob approached the actor for an introduction and told him about how he was such a big fan. Now any normal person would be appreciative and thank the fan, but oh no, how did Chevy respond? Well, he slapped Rob. Yep, he tried to make a joke out of it and said, "Can't you see I'm talking to somebody, kid?" But regardless, if he was interrupted and was talking to someone, slapping someone, especially someone who adores you, is just not the move. Now let's talk about Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow has her own company called Goop, which is a wellness and lifestyle brand. In 2019, Goop had a UK wellness summit where fans paid $6,000 to meet her. Now that's just an insane amount to begin with, but with paying that much, you'd assume that you'd have a really good experience, right? Well, not for these fans. Those who attended said that Gwyneth hardly made appearances, and when she did, she was surrounded by security. One attendee said Gwyneth acts like she's a health goddess, but actually she's a pretentious, greedy extortionist. She had a ton of security, she was unapproachable, she did the minimum, a few fireside chats with Twiggy and Penelope Cruz, then she put on her Birkenstocks and snuck out. I was a huge fan of Gwyneth, now I feel like I've lost my faith in God. Those at the event that weekend were urged to book rooms through Goop at $1,300 for 2 nights at the Kimpton Fitzroy London Hotel, but some of them later discovered that rates that weekend started at $250 a night. Now, safe to say that a lot of fans felt scammed and betrayed, and I can't blame them. On to Adam Levine. As recently as February 2020, Adam Levine expressed remorse over unprofessional behavior during a concert in Chile. Fans could have called him a jerk for not giving his performance the attention it deserved when he and the rest of Maroon 5 took the stage 15 minutes late for their slotted show, but they didn't. They were happy. But then Adam called out fans for singing along to the band's songs. Yeah, he didn't want them to sing at a concert. But that's not the only criticism fans have of Adam. On Quora, one user posed the question, who are the biggest jerks in music? And the answer surprised many of Maroon 5 and Adam Levine's fans. One critic noted that early on in Maroon 5's initial days of fame, Adam made rude comments about a fan and even his current girlfriend. Adam was giving out autographs and he allegedly told a fan that he didn't give autographs to ugly chicks. Though what he said and how exactly he said it can't necessarily be confirmed, many commenters agreed that it sounded a lot like the Maroon 5 frontman's personality. Now, I've also heard firsthand that at a meet and greet, he called a woman fat. Now that is just plain rude. It makes me so angry that he thinks he can treat not only his fans, but women this way. Now we have Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber grew up in the spotlight, and although he has a lot of fans, he also has a lot of enemies. He's known for canceling meet and greets and acting erratically in public. When a few fans straight up asked him for a hug, he refused. Now he reportedly spat on fans who were beneath his hotel room, although his representative claimed that he didn't spit on anyone and that there were no fans below the balcony. Then one time when a fan tried to snap a selfie with Justin, he told her that her lack of respect made him sick. Now he also yelled at fans for talking during a 2016 concert. And more recently on December 5th, 2022, Justin and his wife Haley were seen walking to their vehicle in New York. While walking to their van, there was paparazzi and a fan there. The fan was holding a paper and pen wanting Justin's autograph and said, "Will you make me the best grandmother ever?" Now in a rude tone, Justin replied, "That's not going to happen today," and proceeded to get in the car. Safe to say, Justin isn't grateful for all the love he's received over the years from fans. Then there's Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres has been exposed for not being as happy and bubbly off-screen as she is on-screen. In 2021, she announced that her talk show was coming to an end after almost 2 decades on the air. News of her departure came after staff members reported a toxic work environment. Employees said they were fired after taking medical leave or bereavement days to attend family funerals. Others said they were also instructed by their direct managers not to speak to Ellen if they saw her around the office. It's also said that Ellen only appears to be bubbly and down to earth on camera, but backstage she is demanding and rude to her staff. Now, a few have even quit because of her behavior, because apparently she explodes at staffers over the tiniest things. Now, more recently, clips have been circulating from her show where she mistreated her guests, the most notably being in 2008 when Mariah Carey was on her show, and Ellen pressured her into confirming her rumored pregnancy by encouraging the singer to drink champagne. Mariah tried to politely decline the drink offer and then pretended to take a sip, leading Ellen to exclaim, "You're pregnant." Now, Mariah spoke out about how uncomfortable this made her feel as she wasn't ready to announce her pregnancy. Now sadly, Mariah had a miscarriage, which made looking back on that memory on the show even more painful. So yeah, people don't like Ellen. Moving on to James Corden. In 2022, James Corden received a temporary ban from a New York restaurant because of the way he treated staff. The owner, Keith McNally, took to Instagram to publicly announce the ban to his 88,000 followers, saying that James Corden was the most abusive customer to my Balthazar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago, and going on to share 2 managers' reports from when Corden had visited. Now, the most recent was from October 2022, and it explained how Corden had reacted to the restaurant making a mistake with his wife's order, saying James Corden began yelling like crazy to the server, "You can't do your job, you can't do your job. Maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." Honestly, James, maybe you should have, and then you'd understand what it's like to work in a fast-paced, high-end restaurant. Next up is Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen was arguably most famous to those in the Twitter sphere for her honest, witty observations and jokes, often leveled at the widely criticized political figures. Now, she's gained a multi-million following over the last few years. One of the people who Chrissy had leveled her tweets at years before revealed the dark side to the star's online habits. Courtney Stodden said they first met the model when they were 16 years old, after marrying coach Doug Hutchinson, who was 34 years their senior. Courtney was considered the butt of the joke among others, and Teigen directed her barbs straight at the reality star. In May 2021, Teigen made a statement about the controversy. "Not a lot of people are lucky enough to be held accountable for their past BS in front of the entire world. I'm mortified and sad at who I used to be. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll. I'm ashamed and completely embarrassed at my behavior, but that's nothing compared to how I made Courtney feel," she wrote on Twitter. But hey, at least she was able to admit to it, but what she did was terrible. Then there's Jon Hamm. Kathy Griffin has been quite outspoken about her encounters with rude celebrities and isn't shy about calling them out. In her book, Kathy Griffin's Celebrity Run-Ins, My A to Z Index, she explained that Jon Hamm is one of the rudest people she's ever met. "You'll never convince me to like Jon Hamm," she wrote. "The vibe I've always gotten from him is cold and somewhat disrespectful towards me. I'm suggesting he's one of those hot guys who's mildly funny, but actually thinks he's comedian level funny." Now, she recounted a time where he showed up at a dinner party and said, "Hammy showed up, he even said to me, 'What are you doing here?' I said, 'What are you doing here?' And later on, when she was talking to fellow actor Jack Nicholson, an intoxicated John reportedly started whispering in her ear. First it was, 'You know your Emmy isn't a real Emmy,' and then he whispered, 'You're so old.' Now, that's just strange behavior all around." And finally, we have Christian Bale. Christian Bale has a bad temper. An audio recording leaked in 2009 of Christian having an outburst towards cinematographer Shane Hurlburt on the set of Terminator Salvation. Now, in the audio, he is heard yelling at Shane, who supposedly distracted the actor during a scene, as it appears that he walked in on the shot. Christian became enraged, hitting Shane with F-bombs, as well as threatening to smash his lighting equipment. During a part of the clip, he says, "You are trashing my scene, you do it one effing time, and I ain't walking on this set if you're still hired." Then Christian's former assistant came out with a book and said that Christian is often awful when fans approach him. He'd reportedly lecture little girls about being rude and intrusive until tears streamed down their faces, and their parents tugged them away from our table.
Number 10. Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller has been on the acting scene since 2008, first appearing in films such as After School and Perks of Being a Wallflower. They seemed like a normal functioning member of society until 2019, when cast and crew started noticing some odd behavior from the actor. Their attitude on set shifted from being happy to be here to, "I'm better than you gotta deal with that." They would often wear capes or robes on set that were never actually a part of their wardrobe, and reportedly were filled with scattered thoughts and motivations both on screen and off. In 2020, a video surfaced of Miller in a violent altercation outside of a bar in Iceland, which would be the first of many videos showcasing the actor's misdeeds, eventually leading to Miller breaking and entering into somebody's house in Hawaii of all places. Guess they were just a little bit chilly and needed to get a blanket or something, I'm not sure. Miller then went on the run from Hawaiian authorities for a little bit over a week, supposedly squatting in abandoned buildings and sleeping on the beach. They were eventually caught and charged with breaking and entering, as well as aggravated swatting, as Miller had apparently gotten into a fist fight before breaking into the house. Hey, two birds, one stone. Their behavior on set branded them as odd at first, but that combined with their now several public arrests has landed them on the thinnest ice possible, only having their solo flick The Flash be released because hey, it's actually a good movie. Too bad for Ezra, they'll probably get recasted in the next one. Number 9. Morgan Freeman. The voice of God himself, Morgan Freeman, has been a soothing soul for many, many years. To this day, families can still hear Morgan narrate the world around them in an immersive 360 IMAX experience at the Science Center in Toronto. They didn't pay for me to do that, you just can't. He may be a comfort to some, but according to a few women, Morgan is their nightmare. Morgan has been accused of inappropriate behavior on multiple occasions between 1991 and 2015. According to one production assistant from the film Going in Style, which is a bank heist movie starring Freeman, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin, Freeman subjected her to unwanted touching and comments about her figure and clothing on any near daily basis. Gentlemen, lend me your ear. This move is rarely received well, and you better listen to me now. Don't have a move, just be yourself. It's a lot easier. Walk up, say hi, people like that. According to her, in one instance, Freeman attempted to lift her skirt and asked to see her underclothes. She was not the only one to speak out, actually. A senior member of the production staff on the movie, Now You See Me Too, told CNN that Freeman harassed her and her female assistant on numerous occasions, making similar comments on figure and clothes. Now, I could go on with more and more examples, but to save some time, I'll just boil it down to Morgan is creepy, and I'm sorry to say, but he needs to retire as soon as possible. Number 8. Jon Hamm. The Madman star doesn't just look like a typical college jock, he actually was one in the early 90s. Jon took part in a violent hazing incident at the University of Texas in 1991 that led to him receiving criminal charges. The lawsuit was filed by a member of the Fraternal Society organization who claims to have been severely injured, dragged by a hammer, and had his pants lit on fire. The person also claims that Jon was involved until, quote, the very end. Criminal records show that Jon was charged for this incident at the time, receiving probation and an official charge of hazing. He participated in all the classic activities, some good, but mostly just downright degrading. While this took place way back when, Jon's roles combined with his supposed cold shoulder default towards his fellow co-stars has landed him on the list of the meanest bobeediest. Number 7. Mike Myers. He's Canadian. He's a comedian. How could this guy be a meanie? Well, it turns out that's his default setting. Mike may be well known in the world of Hollywood as a funny man, but to his fans and fellow actors, he's known as a short-tempered madman. One experience was shared with a media outlet called Mean Stars, in which a fan told a story of running into Mike at a bar, with that experience being as disastrous as the Love Guru. Like anything could be so bad. The fan walked up and told Mike that he was a big fan and just he wanted to offer to buy him a drink. And Mike replied, well, I can afford my own drinks, you a-hole. Save your cash for my next movie. There are several instances, both on and off set, showcasing his difficulty working with people. His Cat in the Hat co-stars, for instance, sorry, I just get weird flashbacks when I talk about that movie. His co-star Amy Hill, there we go, claimed that he had handlers dress his entire trailer and his work area was entirely covered with tenting because he just didn't want anybody to physically see him, probably because he was so ashamed to be in that movie. Maybe his reputation as a difficult Donnie has something to do with Hollywood seemingly blacklisting him from appearing as a lead in anything until his recent show The Pentaveret aired on Netflix, a show where he was forced to play half of the cast because he couldn't get more people to work with him. Maybe it has something to do with the Love Guru. Just maybe. It does, it definitely does. Number 6, Jonah Hill. It would appear that the once funny man turned Oscar nominee is secretly a jerk. Recently, a news article broke thanks to his ex-girlfriend Sarah Bradley, showing evidence that Jonah was emotionally damaging towards her during their relationship. The couple first got together in 2021, meeting on the beach as she was a surf instructor. You see, according to a series of texts between Sarah and Jonah, it's very obvious that he is mentally manipulative towards her. He tells Sarah to remove any photos of herself surfing from Instagram that showed her bum in a thong. Now, when she did that, he told her that it was a good start, but that she didn't seem to get his point. He then told her, it's not my place to teach you, I've made my boundaries clear, you refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear, and I hope that makes you happy. A little wordy there, Jonah. It could have just said, hey, I said something and you didn't do it. In another screenshot, Jonah made his plans and simple conditions for maintaining their relationship known, including stating that he didn't want Sarah surfing with men, which was, like part of her job. He wrote a massive list of boundaries and rules that were clearly him trying to control that everything that Sarah did. One point literally saying that she can't post pictures of herself in a bathing suit. Like what she's supposed to wear to the beach, a turtleneck? Not only is this proof that Jonah is a bad guy, but it may be the first step towards his official cancellation, so sorry to anybody hoping for that 21 Jump Street movie we've all been waiting for. I know I'm upset. Number 5, Shia LaBeouf. Shia was one of Disney's best and brightest in the early 2000s. His TV show The Even Stevens was number 1 with audience members, his movie Holes is still considered to be a classic, and his career to the mainstream was launched when he played Sam Witwicky in the first live-action Transformers movie. But it seems like acting next to fake robots all day might have driven him a little bit insane. Following the success of the film, he was being casted in things, but the people on set would quickly regret those decisions. You see, in the movie Fury, released in 2014, Shia played one of the 5 main tank soldiers stuck behind enemy lines. To stay in character, he did not bathe for 3 months. Everyone in the tank was on the verge of gagging constantly. If that's not bad enough, his random and wild antics over the years are not only considered to be rude, but they're just downright odd. Who could forget his famous "Do It" monologue presented by Nike? Or his weird Shia LaBeouf music video on YouTube that is somehow surprisingly catchy. It's very good. Despite his antics, producers are still giving him money to fund passion projects when they should really just cut this guy off from his piggy bank already. Number 4, Christian Bale. Passion, rage, somehow these two things are often combined or mistaken for each other. In Christian's case, he's a bit of both. First instance of his possible aggression came from the 2009 Terminator Salvation, when an audio clip was leaked of Christian yelling at a cinematographer named Shane Hurlbut, who had apparently distracted the actor during a scene. He later apologized for the outburst, calling his actions out of order and himself a punk. While another on-set outburst like that has not happened yet, the rumor is that Christian is a bit of a stickler on set these days. He now demands that nobody move before an important scene, and he'll occasionally stop the director when they're addressing the crew to inform people of his needs for the day. He's currently not set to star in any movies, along with everyone else in Hollywood, cause hey, everybody's on strike! Pay your people, Hollywood! Number 3, Jared Leto. Jared Leto is an interesting fellow. He started his own religious group, he brings a new meaning to the word method acting, and let's face it, this guy sucks. Over the past few years, reports from Jared's fellow actors have been just terrible. They don't like this guy at all. During his time as the Joker, he left his fellow castmates some used adult devices, pig heads, live animals in their trailers. All of these were so-called gifts, but anyone who actually received these gifts just probably threw them out or, had to call animal control because there was a snake in their bed. On top of that, he's been known to stay in character when he's on set, meaning that if he's playing someone angry or silent, that's just how he's gonna be the whole time. This guy hasn't really been questioned for his actions at any point. We just kind of look at him and go, oh, look at that weirdo being himself, let him go. When the reality is that Jared is stuck so far up his own behind, he doesn't even seem to realize how mean he's actually being. He snubs his fellow actors and he selfishly brings chaos to the set. That's hella mean. With his career still well on the rise, here's hoping that Jared will eventually be called out for good and added to the Hollywood list of canceled nutcases. Number 2, Edward Norton. Any fans of the Knives Out series on Netflix surely recognize this man from its most recent entry, Glass Onion, as the one who wants to turn your home into the Hindenburg. In 2008, Edward starred as the leading man in Marvel's first attempt at bringing the Hulk to Disney, The Incredible Hulk. The film wasn't bad, and Edward's performance was actually considered to be very solid, which is why everyone was so confused when Mark Ruffalo popped up as the greenie meanie in purple pants. The reason being, Edward's just a little bit demanding. When he was asked to sign a multi-film deal with Marvel, he asked for a significant pay increase that literally none of the other actors were getting. In fact, most of the Avengers had relatively average paychecks so that more money could be put towards the project. When Marvel denied his request, the decision was made to bring a new actor into the fold and replace Norton entirely. The same thing they did with Terrence Howard in Iron Man 2 by replacing him with Don Cheadle. Edward had been asked to participate in the films Birdman and Moonrise Kingdom around the same time and decided that he'd rather do these more artistic projects rather than another loud, action-packed Marvel movie. According to producers, he's still very specific on what he wants and how he wants it. For instance, he must have M&Ms, but no green ones though. Those set him off. Number 1, Tom Cruise. While Tom may be an action movie star and was once a young Hollywood heartthrob, he's had a massive temper since day one. First of all, according to both former assistants as well as several co-stars from his past, he is a regular toddler and throws tantrums, being set off by the littlest thing. His former manager, Eileen Berlin, presented him with a gift on his 19th birthday. It was like a bunch of Teen Bop magazine articles. She just wanted to show him how proud she was of him. And to respond to that, he took that book, threw it back in her face, and said, "I'm an adult." Another example of Tom's aggression was on display during the filming of his recent Top Gun sequel, Maverick. During that time, Tom and the rest of the film crew were tasked to shoot on an actual aircraft carrier that was still being used by the US military. One of the crew posted on Twitter calling out the audacity of Tom's behavior, saying that he was actually on their ship trying to tell them not to talk or even look at him. That's a military guy, Tom, and you're 5 feet tall. After a few choice words, the crewmate made it very clear that Tom was not welcome aboard their vessel. The more recent and public outburst, though, came on set of his last Mission Impossible Impossible movie when audio footage was leaked of a confrontation between Tom and two crew members who had apparently not been following the rules that were on set in place at the time. Tom may still be making movies with that new Mission Impossible just coming out this past week, but it's looking more and more like Dead Reckoning Part 2 will be his reckoning. Yeah, that's it. That's a great way to end it.
At number 10, James Franco. It's no longer a surprise to anyone that James is a bad dude, but his misdeeds date back to 2005. James and Tyrese Gibson starred opposite each other in a 2005 dramatic piece called Annapolis. The story follows Franco's character wanting to attend the titular Naval Academy and entering into a boxing tournament against some of the Navy's best and brightest. His main opponent is Tyrese Gibson. Throughout the majority of filming, James and Tyrese would regularly practice the choreography for the final fight of the film. Now, method acting is one thing when you just pretend to be someone else all the time, but it's different when you're literally punching your co-star for real. Instead of the normal film choreography allowing actors to fake hit each other, Franco was throwing real punches without warning. Gibson tried to be civil at first and asked him to lighten up, but Franco ignored him and continued to box his heart out. When asked about the incident in interviews, Franco defended himself by saying he was aware he made the set difficult at times and claimed to be so wrapped up in his role that he probably wasn't as friendly as he could be. Gibson, however, holds a massive grudge towards Franco, claiming he'd never step foot in the same room as him ever again. Good news for Tyrese, James got cancelled and Fast 11 comes out soon. At number 9, Bill Murray. Sony's first foray into the world of Charlie's Angels was a massive success when it was released, starring Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu as the Angels. The movie was filled with action, a bit of comedy, and one of the strangest performances ever delivered by Crispin Glover. Oh my god, that guy needs help. One interesting addition to the cast was the inclusion of Ghostbusters alumni Bill Murray as the man behind the mic Bosley. Apparently, the set was anything but a comedy after Bill found out a scene was rewritten without his knowledge. In an interview with the news outlet Deadline, Lucy Liu spoke about her time on set and the situation surrounding Bill's outburst. Apparently, he was away for a family event when a scene needed to be reshot for the film. Instead of using a stand-in, it was decided that the scene could be filmed without Murray's character being involved, so the scene went on without him. When he returned to find the change was made while he was gone, he was furious. He reportedly shouted at half the crew, including Lucy herself. At first, she wasn't sure why he was aiming his comments at her. She didn't write the scene, she wasn't the director. She asked if Bill was talking to her, which sent him into a full-blown meltdown. She decided to speak out on Bill's behavior on set, and he was ultimately written out of the sequel. Lucy is proud for speaking her mind despite being a relatively unknown actress at the time, and is glad that Bill's career seems to have suffered for it, because Lucy was just the first of many celebs to comment on his behavior, but let's save that for another time. At number 8, Jennifer Aniston. In 2010, Elle asked actor Jay Moore to describe his most awkward interaction with a female celebrity. Moore responded with a blind item that involved a certain leading lady who was upset to learn that he would be playing her love interest. This mystery diva reportedly yelled, "You've got to be kidding me," right to his face. He then revealed that the behavior that followed led to Moore regularly, quote, "go to my mom's house and cry." Asked if the actress happened to be Aniston, who played his love interest in the 1997 film Picture Perfect, Moore said he will never ever answer that. Well, on his More Stories podcast, he did answer that. Moore claimed Aniston pointed right at him on the first day of rehearsal and screamed, "6 guys they screen test. 6. The one effing guy I hate, that's the guy they hire." This apparently went on the entire day as Aniston kept bad-mouthing him to their co-star. Regardless of what really happened on that Picture Perfect soundstage, Moore has apparently never forgiven Aniston. In 2016, Sports Illustrated asked what was more satisfying, kissing Jen Aniston or firing Tom Cruise's character in Jerry Maguire. Moore answered, without question, firing Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is hotter. At number 7, Jennifer Lopez. The 2020 Super Bowl saw 2 pop icons taking the stage and making the night about them and not football. Shakira and Jennifer Lopez appeared together. They absolutely slayed, and their performance has gone down in history as the most memorable and shimmy-filled night in the NFL. Unfortunately, Jennifer did not want to share the stage. Following the show, as a part of her Netflix documentary Halftime, it was revealed that she was extremely annoyed at the NFL for forcing her to share the stage when she felt strong enough on her own, literally calling it the worst idea in the world. Her main concern was the fact that herself and Shakira were meant to occupy and share the same amount of stage time as a normal solo act rather than doubling it like she assumed would happen. Solo artists are normally given between 12 and 16 minutes of stage time, with most artists using that time to do a mashup of their most popular songs. In the documentary, a clip revealed that Jennifer yelled at her
music director complaining that she had 6 effing minutes, 30 seconds per song. Not enough. The worst idea is putting multiple people on the stage. To prove her wrong, one of the most recent performances on the Super Bowl stage saw 6 major artists share the 12-minute spot. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar were all able to make it work and work well, but Jen couldn't even fathom the 6 minutes she had to perform. At number 6, Jared Leto. Jared Leto has been a problematic figure in the world of Hollywood throughout a majority of his career. After first gaining notoriety for portraying the character of Lane Dixon alongside Dennis Quaid and Danny Glover, Leto quickly began building up his acting repertoire with roles in iconic films like Mr. Nobody, Girl Interrupted, and even taking a turn as the Clown Prince of Darkness, the Joker, in the 2016 film The Suicide Squad, which landed him a spot on this list. Jared has always taken method acting to the extreme, losing and gaining weight rapidly over and over again. It was this film in which he may have snapped. While playing the iconic Batman villain, Leto purposefully distanced himself from his fellow actors on set, and reports are that he sent his castmates used adult toys. At one point during filming Captain Boomerang, actor Jay Courtney found a live snake in his trailer following a long shooting day. The snake wasn't venomous, but I think we can all agree that's a big ol' nope. In recent years, he's claimed that any gifts sent to his castmates were sent with the intent of joy and excitement and were received as such. I don't know, exposing your fellow actors to your bodily fluids and actual snakes doesn't sound very exciting to me. At number 5, Wesley Snipes. Ryan Reynolds is known for many things. He's got his toes dipped into the world of adult beverages, wireless cell phone coverage, and he's even a soccer coach. One of his most iconic roles as an actor is, of course, Mr. Deadpool himself. However, in 2008, Ryan was a part of a different Marvel movie. As some may know, the original Marvel movie that started this whole live-action comics trend was the Blade trilogy, starring Wesley Snipes as the titular vampire hunter. By the time of the 3rd film of the franchise rolled around, Wesley Snipes was just done with working on set. He hated the way the franchise was turning out, and all of his creative suggestions were quickly shut down. His main problem, though, was the fact that Blade Trinity was written as a straight-up comedy movie. The previous entries were dark action movies filled with gore and some pretty stellar fight sequences, so when Van Wilder was cast to be his co-star, he gave up. He famously refused to film several scenes unless he was allowed to keep his shades on, and apparently he was micro-napping during scenes because he just didn't care anymore. Ryan played a big part in his difficulty enjoying the shoot, making it his mission to make Wesley snap. He would constantly do bits, push things too far, just the general Ryan Reynolds chaos that we're used to at this point. At the end of the day, Blade Trinity ended up burying the franchise and was one of the most chaotic and toxic film sets of 2004. At number 4, Kiefer Sutherland. The man known for his roles in movies like Lost Boys and Stand By Me has built a nice little place for himself in Hollywood. For a long time, he was starring in the crime drama 24. Many celebrities have made small cameos and recurring roles on the show, but in 2010, Scooby-Doo actor Freddie Prinze Jr. was cast as Agent Cole Ortiz. Despite the massive success of the show, the job left him scarred, admitting that he hated every moment of it. According to Freddie, Kiefer is the most unprofessional dude in the world. Continuing to say that he wasn't talking trash, this was something he would happily say to Kiefer's face, and apparently a ton of his co-stars agree that he makes filming a living nightmare. Following the end of his character's time on the show, he did slow down in the acting world, now limiting himself to voiceover and cameo roles. The odd thing was that while there were some backing up Freddie's story, there were a higher number of defenders for Sutherland, claiming the exact opposite experience. Some say he's the most professional man in the world, so if anyone watching this knows Kiefer, weigh in. Are you Team Kiefer good or Kiefer bad? At number 3, Alyssa Milano. Alright, so let's talk about the show Charmed for a moment. A solid series that was on the air for almost 10 years. The series followed 3 sisters who discovered they were descendants of a line of good female witches and are destined to fight against the forces of evil. Yeah, it was a fun show, however, just because you play sisters on set doesn't mean you're as close in real life. Rose McGowan and Alyssa Milano had a very public altercation that resulted in a little incident on set being shared with the world. Rose claimed that Alyssa threw a fit in front of the crew yelling, "They don't pay me enough to do this stuff," only she didn't say stuff. She called Alyssa's behavior appalling, claiming she cried every time the show got renewed for another season because it meant more time on a toxic set. Alyssa never shared her own comments on the situation, confirming what she was being accused of. At number 2, Richard Gere. Richard Gere is one of those actors that doesn't really act. Sometimes people just get hired for films because they have the face for it or the style. For Richard Gere, he did not have enough class and moxie to keep a handle on his role in the film The Lords of Flatbush. He was cast to star alongside Rocky himself, Sylvester Stallone, and according to Sly, these two did not get along. Their beef was strong and long-lasting throughout production until it finally came to a head when one day Richard was a little too into a scene and grabbed Sylvester aggressively by the collar. When Stallone told him to lay off, he laid in instead. The scene was being filmed on Coney Island, and when the actors took a break, they tried to break each other. Stallone was eating a hot dog alone in a car. Sounds peaceful. But suddenly, Richard stormed in to join him with half a chicken dripping in mustard. Despite Sly's warning about the mustard, it dripped all over his pants. In true Rocky fashion, he elbowed Richard in the head and threw him out of the car. The altercation resulted in Richard being fired from the project. Oh no, we have to decide between Richard Gere and Sylvester Stallone. I wonder how quick that decision was. And at number 1, Dustin Hoffman. Dustin is a very easy man to spot. Not only is he a solid actor, but he has a very specific face. Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, anyone? Remember that movie? I did not remember that existed until I started writing this script. I will be watching that tonight. Despite his ability to play lovable and cheerful characters, he actually started out as somewhat of a villain. On the second day of filming his more famous part in Kramer vs. Kramer, Dustin decided to improvise a scene where he strikes his co-star Meryl Streep across the face. Let me rephrase that. Dustin Hoffman thought it would be a great idea to strike Meryl Streep. Mamma mia, that's not okay. Not only was Meryl shocked by the move, but she recalled that Dustin was also trying to use a tactic on her called emotional recall, taunting her about her late partner John Cazale and his illness.
Number 10, Lea Michele. The actress who played the most arrogant character on Glee has recently been outed as being one of the meanest celebrities in Hollywood. The music TV series that helped Lea Michele rise to fame was also her undoing, as it looks like the horrible way she treated the cast and crew on set came back to bite her. Many of her peers, including actress Samantha Ware, spoke out against her behavior. She told Variety, quote, "It was after I did my first performance. That's when it started. The silent treatment, the stare downs, the looks, the comments under her breath, the weird passive aggressiveness, it all built up." After Samantha spoke out, dozens of co-stars, film crew and staff flooded social media with stories about the diva. There were even reports of Michelle only speaking to people through her assistant and not acknowledging her co-star's presence. As expected, she came out and issued an apology, but people still haven't forgotten about her atrocious behavior, and when it was announced that she was replacing fellow actress Beanie Feldstein in the Broadway production of Funny Girl, fans were up in arms and some have even called for a boycott. Number 9, Mike Myers. His name is synonymous with the hilarious and charismatic character Austin Powers. However, the actor is reportedly completely different in real life, especially on set. There have been numerous reports suggesting that Myers is a nightmare to work with some even claiming him to be a control freak and grumpy. It has come to light that the actor makes tons of demands of his assistants. In fact, Myers reportedly made life a daily nightmare for the cast and crew of one of his biggest films. According to Amy Hill, who was his co-star in The Cat in the Hat, she said it was a horrible, nightmarish experience. Hill claimed that he selfishly kept everyone waiting for hours, overruled the director, and even had someone standing by just holding his personal chocolates in a dish. Quote, "It was so weird, it was just the worst, I was miserable." Another story involves a fan that offered to buy the actor a drink. After telling Myers how much he enjoyed his work, Myers allegedly just looked at him and said, "I can afford my own drinks," cursed at him, and said, "Save your money for my next movie." Ouch. Apart from being notoriously difficult to work with, his mean-spirited attitude towards regular people have shrunk his fan base down to a fraction of what it used to be. Number 8, Rachel Ray. The celebrity cook has a reputation for being a meanie. Many fans in her audience have reported that before filming her show, she often avoids speaking to them and appears cold and disinterested, and just looks like she would rather be somewhere else. But it's not just her fans. In fact, several famous chefs have publicly come out saying that they straight up don't like her, like Martha Stewart and the late Anthony Bourdain. Even members of Ray's own family have turned against her. In 2013, scandal broke out after Ray's aunt, Geraldine, tragically died while staying at Ray's house. But neither Ray nor her husband John showed up at the funeral. Instead, she was allegedly tweeting about cats, recipes, and TV shows, which led her cousin, Gina Mesnick, to speak out against her. Quote, "I found it very insensitive and inappropriate. It just shows how demeaning Rachel was to my family on the day we buried my mom after she died under such horrible circumstances." Her fan base is now practically non-existent. In fact, a good portion of the internet harbors deep loathing for the chef. There's so many online forums dedicated to Rachel Ray slander. In fact, there's even a blog called Rachel Ray Sucks, and you can guess what kind of things people post on there. Number 7, Russell Crowe. The actor has had a reputation for being outright mean to both his Hollywood peers and his fans, making him an extremely controversial figure in the industry. I mean, where to start with Russell Crowe? There were rumors that he threatened any media platform that published stories about him having a fling with Courtney Love. But a great example of his overall attitude is when he intimidated and attacked the producer of the BAFTA Awards for cutting his speech short and preventing him from reciting poetry. In 2005, he was then charged with criminal possession of a weapon for allegedly throwing a phone and cutting a hotel clerk's eye, all because he was unable to get connected with his wife. One of the lesser talked about but worrying incidents involves Crowe and rapper Azealia Banks. Crowe forcibly removed her from a party he was hosting. Not only that, but he was said to have been violent and allegedly spat on her and used racist language. The Australian actor is also notoriously difficult to work with and is known for regularly shouting at his scriptwriters, yelling at them on phone calls while discussing the story. So it's safe to say that he lost not only film roles but a lot of fans due to his outright nastiness. Number 6, Jared Leto. The actor and singer really seemed to be getting a lot of backlash in recent years, especially in the era of the Me Too movement. It seemed that out of his fellow Hollywood celebrities, not everyone was willing to be silent when they heard he was behaving inappropriately towards young women. In 2018, Suit Life of Zack and Cody star Dylan Sprouse came forward on Twitter and brought disturbing allegations against him to light. Quote, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?" As you would have predicted, the tweet totally blew up and many people were happy that he was finally getting called out. The situation quickly escalated when Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn tweeted the following as an answer to Sprouse's initial tweet. Quote, "He starts at 18 on the internet? Aside from predatory behavior, Leto has treated his fans horribly and was seen on occasion randomly giving the finger to audience members. As a result, he really doesn't have many mainstream fans left, save for the fans of his cult/band 30 Seconds to Mars." Number 5, Ellen DeGeneres. She was one of the most popular talk show hosts in the world only a few years ago, with fans across the globe. But all that came crashing down for Ellen DeGeneres when she was exposed for being ruthless to her employees when the cameras weren't rolling, and just a downright mean-spirited person. Her motto was ironically, "Be kind," and that completely backfired on her when former employees started coming forward with their Ellen horror stories. In a BuzzFeed article, the comedian was labeled a bully and named as the culprit for creating a toxic work environment by one current and 10 former employees, who anonymously gave their true thoughts about her in the article. They essentially confirmed what up until then had only been rumors, with one TV writer claiming that Ellen required anyone who talks to her at work to chew gum from a bowl outside of her office first, and that she would frequently send staff home to shower if she thought that they smelled bad. While the accusations haven't hurt her bank balance, Ellen's image has been tarnished forever, and you'd have to search the internet for days to find anyone that still supports her. Number 4, Catherine Zeta-Jones. You wouldn't think the actress was someone with a bad attitude, but it appears that's exactly what she has. The most famous story about her happened way back in 1998, when an 8-year-old girl was attending a special screening of The Mask of Zorro. She went up to Catherine Zeta-Jones and asked her for some advice on acting, as that is the career path that she wanted to follow. Catherine allegedly looked her up and down and said sarcastically, "You're pretty enough, I suppose," before turning back to her conversation. Not to mention what she said in 2018, which really highlighted how she perceives herself. Quote, "I'm sick of being humble, I really am. Sorry I'm rich, so sorry I'm married to a movie star, so sorry I'm not so bad looking." In fact, according to Page 6, the actress regularly sings her own praises and brags about how much money she has compared to other people. In 2003, she was quoted saying, "$1 million isn't a lot of money for people like us." I mean, if that wasn't enough, she said, quote, "Some people collect art or lots of money. We collect houses because if we have to look at something, we prefer the view." you. Yeah, most people were not jumping to support the actress with a track record of saying things like that. Number 3. Katherine Heigl. Television medical drama Grey's Anatomy catapulted Katherine Heigl into the limelight. The thing is, she has a reputation of being extremely unpleasant to work with, and after trashing her most popular movie ever, she lost a whole bunch of fans. I'm talking about 2007's Knocked Up. It was not just hilarious but very well received all round, scoring an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and bringing in $219 million at the box office against a $25 million budget. But Katherine was less than thrilled about her participation in the movie and called the film sexist, telling Vanity Fair in 2008 that she thought the movie, quote, paints women as shrews, as humorless and uptight. It paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. She went on to say that she had a hard time with the film on some days because she said that her character was a B-word and a killjoy. Not only that, but Heigl's bad reputation stems largely from her decision to decline a second Emmy nomination for Grey's Anatomy in 2008. She released a cringy public statement that claimed she simply wasn't given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Number 2. Jamie Lynn Spears. Someone that has lost all support from what little fan base she had to begin with is Jamie Lynn Spears. She's known pretty much as the younger sibling of Britney Spears, but she didn't exactly hide long in her sister's shadow before entering the limelight. Although she made a few appearances in film and television as a child, she didn't receive star status until landing the lead role as Zoe Brooks on the Nickelodeon show Zoe 101. After 3 years on the very popular show, the then 16-year-old announced that she was pregnant, effectively ending her role and putting her acting career on hiatus. But people dislike the star because of the horrific way she has treated her sister over the years. In fact, fans of Britney have heavily criticized Jamie Lynn for an apparent lack of support during her sister's 14-year-long conservatorship. In fact, the former actress has been accused of trying to steal Britney's fortune, fighting against the movement to free her from her conservatorship, and writing tell-all books to try and profit off of her sister's name while trying to make her look bad. With Britney now finally able to speak up for herself and reportedly working on her own memoir, it will probably result in even more exposure of Jamie Lynn's horrific behavior. Number 1. Faye Dunaway. Once called the worst person in Hollywood by Bette Davis, the Academy Award winner is no doubt one of the meanest people in the industry. In 2019, she was actually fired from the Broadway production of Tea at 5 because of bizarre behavior which included hurling objects at crew members and slapping her wig fitting team, throwing salad on the floor, and even insisting that no one wear white to rehearsal because it's distracting. That's not all. In fact, she reportedly shrieks at service industry employees and thinks that her plane tickets should be upgraded as a matter of principle. A flight attendant once claimed Dunaway was screaming at everyone, saying, "Don't you know who I am?" And while filming Chinatown, the actor once reportedly threw a cup of urine on director Roman Polanski because he wouldn't let her use the restroom. In 2019, she was also sued by her former personal assistant, who claimed that she regularly and relentlessly subjected him to, quote, demeaning tirades, and used his sexual orientation as a gay man against him. And according to an insider, Dunaway was so demonic on the set of Mummy Dearest that no one dared to approach her for fear of being verbally attacked. So it's not surprising that she no longer has many fans left at all.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Katy Perry. Have you seen all the drama surrounding Katy Perry and American Idol? Well, if you haven't, let me get you caught up. So recently, a 25-year-old mom who was bullied by Katy Perry on American Idol decided to quit the show while on stage in tears. When Sarah Beth Libby first appeared in front of the judges to perform You Know I'm No Good by Amy Winehouse, many viewers criticized Katy Perry in the comments she made during Sarah's audition. Sarah would later open up in a TikTok video in which she described the incident as being hurtful and embarrassing by saying there was a joke that was made that's gotten so much attention, and she then went on to say, "At the start of my audition, before I sang, I mentioned that I had 3 children and I was a young mother, and Katy Perry made a joke that wasn't super kind. Now the mom of 3 has decided to call it quits, and it's not for the reason you might assume. room. In an episode of the singing contest, she sang Roxanne by the Police before suddenly quitting and telling the judges after finishing her song, "The opportunity is really rad, but this is actually going to be my last performance because my heart's at home. So I'm going to get home to my babies, thank you." With Sarah returning to the stage, Katy Perry would then beg the contestants not to leave, but Sarah stood her ground and left the show. And now we're all wondering if Katy Perry might be replaced as a judge on the show. Number 9. Justin Bieber. Well, we all know Justin Bieber is all about his personal space, and in 2017, he would show his fans that they probably shouldn't approach him and ask him for a selfie or an autograph. While Justin was in Australia for a leg of his world tour, he was approached by a female fan looking to take a selfie on the street, but instead, she would be left in tears. During the encounter, which was filmed and shared on the internet, the singer rebuffed her request by telling her, "Look at your respect level, look at you, you make me sick." In one swift move, he then took some bite of his food that he was holding and got into his car. His Melbourne fan then recalled during an interview on Nova 969, "I took the photo anyways because I thought, when am I ever going to have this moment in my life?" Well, Justin went on to receive some major backlash for how he handled the situation. In a brief dispute, the star seemed to go into digital damage control, uploading more photos of himself welcoming his fans, including a throwback photo of him shaking hands with a young girl on the beach. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. Coming back to our list, in the number 8 spot today we have Jennifer Lawrence. Did you know Jennifer Lawrence once made a grown man cry in a bar before? Well, apparently she did, and she even talked about the incident when she appeared on the popular chat show Late Night with Seth Meyers. When Jennifer was in the capital of Hungary for the shooting of Red Sparrow, when she ventured into the bar on a night with some friends, she would be drinking with her company when a fan approached the group and asked Jennifer to take a selfie with him. When the actress declined to take a photo with him, he apparently kept on insisting, to the point Jennifer and her friends had to ask him to leave them alone. Things quickly then took a sharp turn after the man got agitated and said "F you" to Lawrence, which then riled up the star, and she snapped, and she then grabbed her fan, threw a drink in his face, then poured it all over his suitcase, and after her friends stopped her from doing anything else so insane, she then noticed her fan was in tears. Number 7. Miley Cyrus. So Kendall Jenner has been a fan of Miley Cyrus for a while now, so it probably didn't sit so well with the model after Miley Cyrus recently called her out on her mean girl behavior. So at the height of Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber's ongoing feud, after it was revealed that Kendall Jenner helped Hailey Bieber make fun of Selena Gomez in a video, news would shortly start to circulate online that Miley made Kendall cry at the Versace fashion show in Los Angeles. Apparently, like the rest of us, she didn't like the way Kendall and her buddy Hailey were being mean girls towards Selena, and she wanted to call them out on it. So no one really knows what Miley said or didn't say to the model, but not long after the rumor went viral, Selena then posted a selfie and tagged Miley and captioned the picture by saying "Violent Chemistry," which is a song from Miley's new album, and fans immediately started to suspect the post was connected to Kendall's and Miley's confrontation. Number 6. Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire isn't your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and yes, he did play Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean his nice on-screen persona can be found behind the scene, as apparently the star isn't as nice as he seems, especially when it comes to his fans. With there being several reports of the star displaying in some pretty odd behavior when it comes to interacting with any of his fans, he once took things a little too far. When Tobey was walking back to his hotel in Paris, a fan walking right beside him held out a camera in front of the star to snap a picture of his face. Looking annoyed, Tobey then out of nowhere slapped his fan's hand, which caused him to drop his camera, and it shattered on the sidewalk. So as Tobey continued to walk away with his entourage, his fan would be left in tears. Number 5. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj seriously caused some major chaos in 2022 when she had to cancel her meet and greet in London on the spot. When the rapper was arranging to meet her fans at a venue in Camden in midday, the event quickly spiraled out of control after thousands of fans showed up. When Nicki eventually appeared hours later than what was originally scheduled, she was mobbed by the crowd and even had to be escorted back to her SUV before speeding away. In a since deleted TikTok video from the chaotic scene, it would show Nicki pushing a fan while she was attempting to make her way through the crowd to the venue on foot. Despite fans ignoring Nicki's pleas to form an orderly fashion line outside of the venue, Nicki would make the decision to cancel her meet and greet, and then the police would issue a statement saying it was shut down by the event managers due to safety concerns. And as Nicki drove off, fans started to cry and chase her car down the street. Number 4. Britney Spears. Back in November 2022,
Alexa Nicholas would recall a time Jamie Lynn Spears had her older sister Britney Spears yell at the actor on set to the point she became a crying mess as she recalled all the trauma she had to deal with while working on the Nickelodeon set. During the podcast, Alexa recounted that a talent coordinator told her mom he was taking her to get her hair and makeup done, but instead he brought the preteen to talk with Britney. At first, Alexa was excited because she was a huge fan. She thought Britney was just going to help her and Jamie Lynn work through their problems. But after going into Jamie Lynn's trailer, Britney started yelling at her as Jamie Lynn hid in the back room. While Britney has come out to apologize to the star, Alexa would acknowledge how she was a crying mess and that the show's creator even had to give her a DVD player in order to get her to stop crying so she could finish filming. Was Jamie's bullying only getting worse as the set carried on? No one really cared for Alexa since it was called Zoe 101 and not Nicole 101, but I think we can all agree Nicole 101 would have been a great show. Number 3. Lea Michele. When Hailee Steinfeld was 14 years old, she was auditioning for True Grit on the Paramount lot. And while she was getting ready to leave, she ran into Lea Michele, who was filming Glee. When Hailee walked up to the actress and asked her for an autograph, things quickly took a sharp turn after Lea ignored her and continued to walk by the young actress. A guy then came out of nowhere and told Hailee it just wasn't a good time. So as Hailee walked back to her car wearing an uncomfortable outfit from the 1800s, she would go on to cry the whole way home. Because she was really upset at the person who's been a main inspiration for her own acting work was so rude to her. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree Lea should have at least greeted Hailee and told her it wasn't a good time herself instead of storming off. Number 2. Jennifer Lopez. Back in 2014, Jennifer Lopez would be left cringing after one of her superfans dissolved into tears after being rejected on American Idol. With no content with attempting to win Idol, bubbly Ronald Reed was out on a mission to end poverty by trying to make the world a better place. However, when Ronald caught sight of Lopez, he then sat down to share a tuneless ballad, which sent the judges, including Jennifer, squirming in their seats. To the point Jennifer even told him that his voice wasn't strong enough. Keith Urban then had to take over and tell Ronald that he was really sweet, as Reed searched desperately for his mojo after being belittled by Jennifer, as she made fun of his lack of melody. Reed would then be sent home, while 33 other hopefuls made it through to the next round. And coming in at number 1 on our list today, we have Demi Lovato. Back in 2016, Demi Lovato would come to learn about how she crushed one of her younger fans after she canceled her concert. With Isabella Miklos being 10 at the time, she was looking forward to seeing Demi Lovato perform with Nick Jonas in Virginia Beach. After her family pulled their money together to buy her the tickets for Christmas as a reward for her excellent grades at school, when she found out the concert was canceled due to a scheduling conflict, Isabella would be left feeling utterly devastated. In frustration over her child's unhappiness, Isabella's mother then took to her Facebook to share the images of her daughter looking excited on Christmas Eve when she was given the tickets, to crying in the car after learning it was cancelled. With Demi cancelling her concert just for the opportunity to be on TV, it upset a lot of fans, which is strange since the pop star has always been the one of those few artists which uses her platform to preach about empowerment, and she has so much pride in her work that she's always considered her fans to be her top priority. But then when she canceled her concert to be on TV and said it was a scheduling conflict, it was really just a sad excuse.